So many red flags you could see them from space. Sorry it's so long, but if anyone has the time to read it and reply, I'd be incredibly grateful. Throwaway account because I'm petrified you will see it. Me, 26F, boyfriend 27M. So I met my boyfriend while I was on holiday 3 months ago. The intensity of the feelings convinced me it was love at first sight. He was full of grand proclamations of undying love, saying I am his everything and that I'm his reason for living. He said I'm his soulmate, that he wants to marry me, have children, the works. He would preach about me to anyone that would listen, including his mom, telling her, to her surprise and delight, that he had met the one. Back from holiday, 2 months of talking constantly, he loses his job and convinces me to give up everything to move to his country because he needs me. With plans to relax, get to know each other, save some money, and travel the world. It sounded like an exciting adventure. I was in a dead-end job and not particularly happy with how my life was panning out, so it seemed like a win-win situation. I realized that this in itself is red flag valley, but he really seemed so different. Everyone loves him because he has such a charismatic and happy personality. He comes across as intelligent and pure. At least, that's what I thought until I arrived here 4 weeks ago. On day 3, he convinced me to get hair extensions because he likes long hair. 2. He doesn't tell me what to wear, but he makes me feel uncomfortable if I wear something he doesn't like. 3. He suddenly decided I'm too pale and need to spend an hour in the sun every day. 4. When we have sex, he can be a bit too rough. I tell him if he's hurting me, but instead of stopping, he just make me feel abnormal, saying things like girls usually like me doing it like this, and you just need to relax, and then you'll enjoy it. 5. He broached the topic of anal sex and got angry when I said I didn't want to do it. He said, you know how important it is to me, which came as a surprise because I've always said I didn't want to do it from day one. 6. I got thrush after a week. He told me the symptoms were in my brain and I needed to cure it with positive thinking. That is until he caught the thrush and went absolutely crazy. He freaked out saying he'd never had anything like this before. I tried explaining to him it was nothing to worry about, but he wasn't having any of it. The next day, he made me go to hospital. I felt incredibly anxious because I don't speak the language of this country, and he was speaking to the doctor in his language, and I had no idea what was going on. The doctor gestured for me to take off my underwear, and I was just crying from feeling so humiliated. Thrush confirmed. Medication given. You think that would be enough? No? No. One day later, still a bit irritated down there, he marches me to a different doctor who, perplexed, rightly tell him we need to give the medication time. Still not enough. He calls his mother who tells him it's normal and he should apologize to me. Yet after all this, every time we have any kind of discussion, he will bring it up, telling me I am not normal. He keeps wanting to inspect me. It's humiliating. He pulls me apart to have a thorough look and then tells me he won't have sex with me because I'm too dry, too red, not normal. He says that no girl he has ever been with has had thrush and that it's a problem with me. He's made me a gynecological appointment at the hospital against my will because he wants me to get help for my fungal problem. I can't describe how dirty he is making me feel because of this. I still feel incredibly ashamed and scared that I'm not normal. 7. He made me tell him everything about myself and my past because he wanted to feel close to me, but it feels like he is just using it against me. I told him about how I had body dysmorphia as a teenager and how I would stand in front of the mirror analyzing and belittling myself. Then suddenly one evening he made me stand in front of the mirror, naked, and wouldn't let me leave the room until I looked into my eyes in the mirror and said, I love you, and I had to do it until he felt that I meant it. 8. He wants me to use the toilet, pee with him there. The first time he brought it up, I told him I felt too uncomfortable to do it, but he got offended that I wasn't comfortable around him, so he wouldn't leave the bathroom until I did it. 9. He criticizes my posture. When we walk to the supermarket, he lightly hits my upper back every time I slouch to remind me to stand up straight. 10. I wore flip-flops one time, and we were walking up a steep hill, so obviously they made a bit of a noise, and he looked at me in disgust, asking why I was stomping like a child, and asking why I couldn't walk properly. 11. We never go out unless we are going to the supermarket or gym. I feel like I'm getting cabin fever. Whenever I mention exploring, because it's a new country and I haven't seen anything, he makes me feel bad. He says that he didn't think I was so material and didn't realize I needed things to make me happy. He says his company should be enough for me. 12. A week ago, at random, he wants to know why I haven't been fulfilling my womanly duties. Turns out he expects a woman to get up hours before him in the morning, clean, do laundry, and prepare his breakfast, and then wake him up when it's ready. I was really shocked at this and told him I don't agree with gender roles, and it should be 50-50, and he looked at me like I'm some kind of alien. But it's what a woman does. You're a woman, it's normal. You should want to do it, and you should do it smiling and with love. He said all of his exes did it without question, therefore, making me feel like I'm not a real woman and that I'm abnormal for thinking otherwise. 13. A week ago, he decided I was losing weight. I don't think I have, and has started to make me go to the gym. He says he wants me to get big legs and a big bum like the women from his native country, and is making me eat sickening amounts to achieve this. In fact, the other day, he made me eat a ridiculous portion of pasta. I felt like I was going to be sick, but he said, just look into my eyes and eat, don't think about it, and made me eat it all. 14. He's now decided I'm not allowed to eat meat because he's an overnight vegetarian and no sugar because of my supposed fungal problem. 15. This week I got a common cold, and once again he marched me to hospital. That's right, hospital for a cold. He's decided that I'm a very sickly person with a lot of problems and looks at me like a basket case. He says I'm not normal. He says I make myself ill with negative thinking. Now would probably be a good time to mention, he thinks people die from cancer unnecessarily because they could cure themselves with the brain. 16. Prior to the move, he told me he smoked pot, which I didn't like, but he assured me it was only when he wanted to meditate and think deeply about life. Turns out that's nearly every day. He keeps pressuring me into smoking with him, even though I don't want to. He inhales it himself and then exhales the smoke into my mouth to make sure I do it properly. 17. A week ago, during one of these pot-induced mediations, he suddenly sits upright and tells me he realizes he can't promise me forever. He says he realizes that he was lost when he met me, but now he is found. Disturbingly, he has said that he has found himself a few times now. I tried questioning him, and he said I am trying to play games with his head. 18. He's decided he wants children in 6 months. I asked, what about the traveling? And he was like, I don't care about that anymore. I just want my family now. Though according to him, we both need to have a DNA test prior to conceiving to check that we are compatible. 19. Recently, he has dropped the bombshell that he doesn't trust me and never has. In his words, I think you're going to cheat on me every second. I have never given him any reason not to trust me. I'm an incredibly loyal person. I've been cheated on in the past and couldn't do that to anyone. He started saying he thinks I've only moved to the country because I had another man there. Don't see when I'd have the time seeing as I'm with him every second. He said he never had this trust issue with any other girlfriend, and therefore he thinks he hasn't got trust issues in general. It's just a problem with me. 20. He started telling me he's noticed a man following us, and he's convinced this man wants me. That night, he then come into the bedroom with a hammer and locked the door, saying, you never know who could get in. 21. He's got really funny about me using my phone. He doesn't understand why I want to talk to my family so much because, according to him, he is my family now. I feel like I have to hide in the bathroom to text my family or do it with him watching me to avoid arguments. 22. He demanded to see my phone one time, completely out of the blue. I was defensive and said no, even though I had nothing to hide. Wish I had just given it to him now. The angry look in his eyes scared me. Never seen anything like it. He kept shouting, get out. I was crying because it was dark and I didn't know where I'd go. Don't care, get out. It wasn't until I broke down in tears and started shaking at the fear of being out on the streets in a foreign country that he changed in the blink of an eye and started stroking my hair, telling me everything would be okay. 23. He said that he's going to start implementing a point system, so when I do things wrong, I'll lose points. He says I'm not learning from my mistakes, and this is the only way he knows how to show me when I do something wrong. He also said he's going to put tests in my way, and it's up to me whether I pass them and show him I'm trustworthy or run into the trap like a rat. 24. He says that in order for him to trust me, I need to do everything he says without question, that he and I need to be one. He said for this relationship to work, I need to be his shadow. 25. He says that I have a lot of problems and I'm too negative and I argue too much. He suggested putting up cameras around the apartment and I quote, "You can watch how you behave," which I find insensitive considering he knows my issues and knows I hate having pictures and video taken. Problem is I really don't think I am negative. Sure, I have become anxious and negative because of all of the things that have happened, but I really didn't think my problems were anything abnormal. It drives me crazy when he says we have arguments because I haven't shouted once. I only ever try to calmly question why he says or does something horrible or contradictory, and that is his definition of me being argumentative. 26. He says a hell of a lot of contradictory things, and anytime I question his behavior or just try to resolve a disagreement in an adult, healthy way, he would tell me I am a dramatic girl. When I get upset about things he said, he gets upset saying that he would never say anything to hurt me. Everything he says is to help me, because he just wants me to believe in myself and love myself. There's more, but this is already way too long. I'm really sorry. I'm just going out of my mind. The way he is in public versus behind closed doors is polar opposite, and he's convinced me that I am the one making him act this way. He's made me feel like I'm abnormal in so many ways. It's making me question everything about myself, and I'm starting to wonder if it is all my fault and I am abnormal. I've made a big move. All I wanted is support and patience while I settle, but I don't feel like he has any patience or empathy at all. Please give me some outsider perspective on this. I feel like I'm going crazy. Update January 31st, 2016, next day. So he came home last night, and I pretended to be asleep. I didn't know what else to do. I felt paralyzed. Then very early this morning, he was looking at me suspiciously, telling me I seemed very nervous, which made me feel even more unnerved because I wondered if he knew what was going on. I was shaking and he asked, "Why are you being like this? It's like you think I'm going to hit you or something." That triggered something in me. I thought, this is it. I'm trapped. And I broke down crying, leading him to storm into the bedroom, slamming the door. But then a little while later, he opened the door and asked me to come in. His mood had done a complete 180, and he was almost too calm, possibly even sad. Out of the blue, he says we couldn't go on like this anymore. He says I'm crying all the time, too negative, and discussing too much, questioning his behavior too much. He said that he realized 2 days ago, in a meditation, that it isn't our destiny to be together. He said I'm not the person he had created in his brain when he met me. His exact words were, "I created an angel, and then you opened your mouth." He said he's losing more patience with me every second, and even though I've done a lot for him, it's not enough because he says he loves himself and is happy all the time, so he needs someone who is the same, as well as a real woman, cooking and cleaning every day. He said his brain is crazy around me and he can't deal with it anymore. His parting words were, "Believe in yourself. Love yourself." I found myself getting more upset and more confused, but instead of following my inclination to bargain with him, I know I truly can't explain it. I tried to remember the things I had read on here and played along just in case this was some kind of test or manipulative behavior. I packed as quickly as I could, though it was in a daze, so I'm pretty sure I've left things behind. The whole time I was packing, he stayed sitting on the bed just staring at the wall, the same position, not moving once, and then I left. No fight. No struggle. No words. Nothing. I felt paranoid waiting for something to happen, for him to react, I don't know, for some kind of trap, but no. I simply walked away. I was thinking all night about which exit strategy to use, but he made it so easy. He, in essence, was the one to let me go. I'm not complaining, but Jesus, has it confused me all the more. My mom knows everything. I sent the link to this post as suggested. She's absolutely mortified, but just wants to get me home. She has booked me on a flight back to England for this evening and stayed with me on the phone while I found a taxi to get me to the airport. I have a long time to wait, but my mom said she'd rather know that I'm at an airport surrounded by people rather than being anywhere near him. So I thought I'd use this opportunity to update you all, because you've all been so supportive. I'm really overwhelmed by all the messages and advice. I wasn't expecting it. Really, thank you for your kindness. Right now, I'm just sitting in the airport, shell-shocked, wondering what the hell just happened. I read my original post again, and no, I haven't exaggerated a thing. Everything happened exactly as I said. Actually, more than those 26 things happened. If anything, I omitted detail in an attempt to keep the post short. But the way he acted this morning wasn't what I was expecting, and from reading your replies, it's not what you were expecting either, and so it has completely thrown me off guard. Honestly, I feel almost ashamed to tell you all what happened in case you also find it odd and question me, like I am questioning myself right now. I know it doesn't excuse everything he has done, but does it give you a different perspective on things? Does this say more about me than it does him? Or is it manipulation to put the blame on me? I know he cannot bear the thought of anyone thinking badly of him. He wants to be idolized too much. Maybe it's from speaking to his friend. Or maybe I really am at fault and have been all along because I keep thinking that if he is that controlling, then why wouldn't he try to keep me there? Unless he realized he couldn't control me the way he expected. Please don't shoot me down